This is CNN Student News. Welcome on this Wednesday, October 13th. You know the deal about our show. 10 minutes, no commercials, top headlines from around the world. My name is Carl Azus. Thank you for joining us. Let's go ahead and get started today. 33 men have spent nearly 70 days trapped half a mile underground. Sometime soon, it could all finally be over. Now, when we taped this show on Tuesday evening, officials in Chile were going through the final steps before the rescue attempt could start. So by the time you are watching us today, some of those 33 miners could already be up on the surface. When they come up, they'll be wearing special goggles to protect their eyes. You got to remember, they've spent 2 months down in the darkness of the mine. Carl Penhall shows us some of what was going on above ground in the final countdown to the rescue.
A prayer for the 33 miners. A prayer for the success of the imminent rescue attempt. Nelly Bugueño has faith her son is coming home at last. Victor will be anxious to finally get out of that mine and be reunited with his family. As he comes out, he will be reborn, she says. Down in Camp Hope, preparations are rushed to completion. 1,500 journalists from 39 countries scurry for last-minute details. The final countdown has begun.
The whole process that they have lived has been pretty traumatic, so I think they're going to be a little bit excited, but we have to wait and see. But we are prepared for any contingency.
Engineers have welded steel pipes into place at the mouth of the rescue shaft to prevent rock falls. And before dawn Monday, rescuers dropped the Phoenix capsule down for its first test run. The miners' families have a new hero, the T-130 drill that cut through half a mile of rock to reach the 33 men. We're happy I'm about to see my son again. I'm happy because that drill has worked a miracle, he says. Now the drill is pulling out, but the work's not yet over.
Until the last guy comes up, the job's not done.
On this barren hillside, a miner's mother insists the men down below were not alone. There were 34 miners down there. The 33 were down there with the Spirit of God, she says. Whether through the powers of machines or the Almighty, the miners' life or death struggle is nearly won. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Carl Penhall, CNN, at the San Jose mine in northern Chile.
So waiting for great news in Chile, there's some not so good news about the U.S. economy. The National Association for Business Economics asked a group of experts for their opinions about the recovery. The result, they don't think it's going so well, and they don't think the rest of this year is going to get much better. They do think that business will lead the recovery as things do get better, and they think the job market will pick up eventually too. But they don't expect that to happen until the second half of 2011. Well, the U.S. military has opened a hearing related to last year's deadly shooting at Fort Hood in Texas. Major Nidal Hassan, he's a U.S. citizen, is accused of the attack. Authorities say Hassan killed 13 people and wounded 32 others when he allegedly opened fire at the military base. This hearing will determine whether Hassan will be court-martialed, which could lead to the death penalty. Yesterday's hearing stopped almost as soon as it started. The colonel in charge is considering a request from Hassan's attorney to delay the hearing until November. Yesterday, we talked about a moratorium, a delay or stop in activity. We've got another one we're reporting on for you today. This is the moratorium on deepwater oil drilling, and it's over. The White House made that announcement yesterday. The moratorium started after the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico earlier this year. Officials say there will always be risks with drilling, but that they've come up with new rules and regulations to help reduce those risks.
Just the facts. Stem cells are the human body's master cells. That means they can become different types of cells, like heart or liver cells, for example. Scientists believe that stem cells can be used to treat different types of diseases. Two kinds of stem cells are adult and embryonic. Adult stem cells are found in tissues like bone marrow. Embryonic stem cells come from human embryos that are 4 to 6 days old.
Using stem cells to treat diseases is still pretty experimental. But for the first time, cells from an embryonic stem cell have been injected into a human. Adult stem cells, not too much controversy with those. But embryonic stem cells, that's where this debate gets intense. Because in order to get those, the embryo has to be destroyed. We don't know much information about this person who was injected with the embryonic stem cells. It was part of a medical study on patients with spinal cord injuries. In order to qualify for the study, you have to be completely paralyzed from the chest down. Scientists are hoping the stem cells will help make a new spinal cord for the patient.
Today's shout out goes out to Mrs. Alley's 8th grade class at Dyersburg Middle School in Dyersburg, Tennessee. Which word describes someone who is at least 100 years old? Is it centurion, centenarian, septuagenarian, or hundredarian? You've got 3 seconds. Go. A centenarian is at least 100 years old. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
Eulalia Garcia Maturey is a centenarian. She has lived almost all of her 101 years in the United States. But this centenarian just became a U.S. citizen yesterday. Maturey came here from Mexico when she was a baby, exactly 101 years ago yesterday. In 1941, she got a certificate of lawful entry card from the U.S. government, so she's been living here legally. But Maturey recently decided to make it official. She filed papers, passed the citizenship test, and yesterday became a full citizen. So one question, why do it now? In her words, I want to spend the rest of my days in this life living legally in the United States. Our show, your voice. We're taking it to our blog. From yesterday's program, was St. George's right when it forfeited a football game in the name of safety, or should they have taken the challenge in the name of sportsmanship? From Enrique, players are being taught to quit when it looks tough. Why choose to fail when success is an option? From Zach, everything's not about winning or losing. It's all about trying. And Gabe says, we are playing football here. There is no safety. I think they need to suck it up and play. By not playing the game, St. George's is teaching their student athletes that when you face adversity, you back down. That quote from another student named Zach. Stephanie wrote, it was a good idea for them to back out of the game because they would have gotten crushed and probably injured by the other players. They were massive. But from Amethyst, when you decide to play a sport, you have to understand there will always be bigger and better. No one practices not to play. If you need a refresher on this story, you can find it at cnnstudentnews.com in yesterday's show. And as a reminder, we only publish first names on our blog. We only read first names on our program. Before we go, they don't sell this in your school cafeteria. We are heading to the Iowa World Food Festival. Some vendors there are building one intense burger. You start off with the beef, like you see, add some cheese. But then here comes the interesting part. You slap on the top half of the bun, which is a donut. They recommend not using ketchup or mustard on this. They wouldn't want to ruin the taste. If you like eating your dessert at the same time as your entree, this sounds like the perfect meal. Donut? Donut? I don't know if that worked. Maybe your eyes just glaze over at that burger. Maybe they glaze over at that pun. Or maybe you think it's all in bad taste. Either way, there are no arguments from us. We don't want to start a beef with anybody. Hope you have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow when CNN Student News returns. Bye-bye.